Where would you cut if you were in the government? Where would you make the cuts?
Where would I make the cuts? Well, I think this is the problem really. There's an obsession with cuts, and this is the mantra and dogma that's been put across with it. You know, we've not explored all the options. This is an ideological attack on public services and public workers. So really, that is the issue. It's not about where would you cut. Let's have a look at what the other alternative is.
And what do you hope to achieve on the protest today?
Well, we just want to raise awareness locally, you know, because I think obviously there's a lot of events going on up and down the country, you know, so we think it's important to raise awareness in our local community, because that's the people who are going to suffer really.
And if you had a message for George Osborne, what would it be?
Well, I don't know really, can I say it on camera, but no, joking aside, seriously, you know, this is a game. They're treating it as a game, the Tory party, you know, and this is Tory dogma at the end of the day. You know, this is people's lives that are going to be affected at the end of the day, you know. This isn't, you know, something that is, there's real people behind these numbers, you know, and they really have to listen to what we're talking about.
Brothers and sisters, I'm here to give my support, but also to remind you it's not just the public and private sector that's affected. Don't forget the voluntary sector, because after all, I think we're the easiest to target, actually, to get to first. Because many of us in the voluntary sector are funded by public sector bodies. And let's face it, when the public sector's looking to make the cuts, they'll look to us first. So I appeal on behalf of the voluntary sector here in Preston. We currently have a thriving voluntary sector here in Preston. Don't forget about us. We work too. We have jobs that will be lost too. We have services that will be cut too. I work for Preston Domestic Violence Services. In times of economic difficulties, domestic violence rises. So we're going to be getting more demands for our services, and yet we're going to have less money to provide those
So
services.
do you think that the government's plans to cut, they're cutting too much?
I think they are cutting too much, and I think that again that this is just about political rhetoric on the Tories. They think they realise they're not here for long, and they're just trying to you know, do as much as damage as they can, which is actually just dismantling the welfare state under things about, you know, massive debts and everything. What's the point of then putting thousands of more people on the benefit state when you say you're trying to reduce it? Because that's the outcome of putting thousands of jobs at risk. These people, they're not just going to be able to go and get another job. There's a knock-on effect, obviously, when you do the private sector to the public sector. So it just doesn't make any sense. And obviously we feel that it's backdoor towards privatisation. You can't leave massive gaps like that. So that's just another way of rich getting richer, poor getting poorer, and we're the ones that are paying again.
Do you think there's any chance of the measures leading to a deepening of the recession, or a double dip recession as they're calling it?
I think there's every reason to say there's a double dip recession coming if they carry on this. It just doesn't make sense that you're putting more people out of work at a time when you need people to be working and generating on the economy, and then to take out thousands of people who people rely on in desperate times. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
The current leaders of this country have no need or regard for public services because they rarely use them. And that is the proof that these cuts are ideological and intended to change the face of British society forever. And let us not forget the banks who left us in this crisis. They have entirely recovered. Bonuses are back, profits have leapt up in Lloyds and Northern Rock, and the only real difference that we seem to be left with is that small businesses and first-time buyers seem to find it harder than ever to borrow money. Some experts suggest that the bailout using taxpayers' money wasn't even necessary. The bank's investments, of course, have turned out to be as solid as they appeared before the crisis, and the huge profits earned haven't disappeared. They just aren't in our pockets. I believe that we are in this together, but I do not believe that they are with us anymore, or believe the mantra any more than they do. Send a message today and send it strong. We don't accept these cuts, and there is another way.